Alright, what's going on out there, everybody? Rooster here in Tennessee. If you're interested in the item I show you here in this video, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535. Now that we got that part out of the way, let's take a look at what we've got in front of us here. Bass amp, solid state 200, also known as a gray 200. There's the signature G from the gray. You've probably seen it on the gray 300, gray 150. I think they made like a gray 75 or something. Things of that nature. Nice amp. These are pretty popular. 2-pill bass amp. This one does have the receive preamp on it. I don't think the preamp works. It's been hard for me to tell. It's not making much of a difference if it does. We're just going to go ahead and say that it doesn't work. It's either knocking the receive down a little bit or not making much of a difference at all. So for the record, we will say that it doesn't work. Yes, the light does light up. All the lights do work on it, and it does have sideband. Sideband off, sideband on. So all that functions as it should. Off position, low, medium, high, and we're going to test this guy out, show you what it does. Now, I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. This thing is very stout, and we're going to get into why that is and details on the inside of the amp here in a second. That's why I've got the cover freed up here. As you can see, new looking screws. When you see new looking screws in a very old amp, chances are somebody has put some effort into it and done some work on it. Just always a good indicator. You got real nice shiny screws and an old amp, somebody's done some work on it. Heat sink on it runs from the front all the way to the back. Does not have a fan, but runs relatively cool because it does have a large slab of heat sink. So the amount of heat sink in this thing is about what you would see people use for like a 4-pill these days. As much heat sink that's on there. Anyway, let's get into the output of it. Enough jibber jabber. It does run on 110 volts. We'll start out on high power. We're keying probably 2 watts into it, swinging 35 PEP, 10 watts average. And we're going to be looking at the middle scale, 500 watt slug. Go ahead and key it up. Hello. Almost 150 average. Hello. Just want to see me talking to it. Radio check, radio check, radio check. Talking like 125. Alright, here's where things are going to get interesting. So you know 150 average, this thing's doing some pretty dang good power. It's going to be doing way more than 200 PEP. Hello, audio, almost 400 watts PEP, about 380. Now that's on high. Let's go back to medium. Hello, audio, 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 hello, 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 audio. That higher tone seems to make it go a little further, 300 PEP. And then on low, yeah, that little E makes it go over further. So you just want to see me talk into it normal. Radio check, radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still about 200 watts PEP. So we can say around 400 PEP, 300 PEP, and 200 PEP from high, medium, and low. Well, got any experience with these things, you'll know that that is abnormally high, and there's got to be some reason why this thing is doing that kind of power. Well, let's take the cover off and take a peek. I knew something was going on as soon as I freaking saw it do that kind of power. And what do you know? What is that? Well, that is a toroid transformer, and that is not the original transformer that came out in this thing. It does have the original 455s in here, as ugly as they are. I think some people put 1446s in them. They tend to do a little bit more. And then some people even put 2879s in them, Toshiba 2879s. And thus, the problem with them going out, the transformer going out. So you got an amp that was designed around 455s, 1446s. Someone decides they want to put 2879s in it, and then the transformer goes out, which may or may not be what happened to this amp. I don't know the history of it, but I do know that that is not what came out in this amp. Now, leads us to say, well, why is it doing so much power? Well, the reason it is doing so much power is because on a key down, that transformer is putting anywhere from 16.5 to 17 volts to these two transistors, and that is probably a little more than recommended. However, the 455s and the ST Micro 1446s that were commonly used in these, they will take a beating, and they tend to take that voltage better than some of the newer transistors. So, that being said, being wide open about this, letting you guys know, this amp is kind of hot rodded, okay? It's great that it's doing that amount of power, but at the same time, these transistors may last 5 years, they may last 5 months. It's going to be according to how you run this thing. Being the higher voltage, it is definitely going to put the transistors in more of a strain. But you look at it on the other half of that, you're getting almost double the power out of it that you would normally see out of one of these. Generally, this is probably about an 80 watt average and 200 watt PEP amp, give or take. This thing, toroid transformer in it, these things are running wild. So, you know, it's holding up good. It's not acting crazy or anything. You know, you sat there and watched me audio into it. It didn't fall back in power. But that being said, I just want whoever to know that buys this, whoever buys this to know rather, that it does have, you know, it's had a aftermarket transformer put in it. So, we will wrap the video up there. This is something I wouldn't mind keeping because it's kind of cool that it's hot rodded like that. Some people may kind of dig it, and then that might be a no-go for some people. Some people might say, heck no, I don't want that thing. But then other people like me might think it's kind of cool. So, either way, it is for sale. If you're interested in it, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535, solid state 200. That is apparently on steroids here, the way it's acting. Rooster in Tennessee. Catch you guys later. See you, bye.